Hi there. I'm SJ. I'm glad you stopped by. It's been a while since I've posted a video. I've had a really busy couple of weeks. I took an online course that I really enjoyed, and that lasted 2 weeks. And during the middle of the first week of that, I took an all day long notary public class. I also worked painted a painting for an art show coming up, played putt putt with our local Senior Olympics. I'm kind of tired. Haven't quite caught up with myself yet. Oh, look over my shoulder back there is that painting. It is called Dragonfly Mountain, and it's a kind of a comical, whimsical dragonfly flying out from behind the mountain and across and into some what do you call those? Black-eyed Susans. Yeah, it was fun to do. But I did finally finish that night before last, about 2 o'clock in the morning. So I've been a little bit busy, but it's good to be back. And I hope you're doing well. There's one thing about being in the third act of our journey, and that is we tend to lose people. Not like misplacing them, but they move away. Maybe they need to be closer to family, or they die. I remember my mom saying years and years and years ago, she was upset with a doctor who told her that at her age, she hated that phrase at her age, that she was going to have to get used to the idea of losing friends and family. I don't know how you get used to that. I think maybe after losing so many people, you learn that you're gonna get through it, but it still hurts. It's a loneliness. When we lose people, we also experience grief, and that's a universal feeling. During this last 2 weeks, just in my circle of close friends, acquaintances, there was someone lost their mother, someone lost their son, another person lost a sister, another person lost a sister, another person lost an uncle, and another person lost her older dog. And that was just within a matter of a few days. And just people I know. But it does happen. The older we get, the more people we know who just they die. They leave their earthly body. And I guess the response people have depends entirely on their experience with death and dying, their attitudes, and their beliefs. I'm the younger child of two younger children, and my mom's dad, my maternal grandfather, was the third from the youngest of 16 children. So, considering that there were all of those siblings of his older than him, I grew up being around people dying. And my family, I guess, had a good attitude about it. They would say, it's okay to cry when someone dies. because you'll miss them. But their belief was don't cry because someone is dead, because they have gone to heaven to live with Jesus. And that's what I was raised believing and hearing. But that it is okay to grieve. Grief is kind of hard to explain in words, but boy, is it a strong feeling. It's kind of like, for me, getting just a mule kick in the gut, just being drained of everything inside. Heartbreaking, mind blowing, mind emptying. If it's someone that you're very close to who dies, then it can be so many changes that come along with that. If it's someone in your immediate family, someone you're with all the time, your everyday routines just change because that person is not there. And you have to redevelop your routine without that person in the routine. That can get overwhelming. Elizabeth Kubler, was it Kubler-Ross? Yeah. She was sort of an expert in grief and the process of dying. And just a very, very simplified view of grief was that there were 5 stages. There's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Think of denial. What's the first thing that you usually say when someone gives you some really hard news? Oh, Uncle Jim Bob died. Oh no. Or the plant's closing down. You don't have a job anymore. No. We usually get that no, that denial. That can't be true. And it's kind of a way of our mind protecting itself. That it is such a gut kick, mind blowing, that we need time to gradually get a hold of what has happened. I've lost my parents, including a stepdad, and my only sibling, a brother, aunts and uncles. Lost quite a few cousins, though I do still have wonderful cousins still living. But don't know that it gets any better. I think we just learn ways to deal with and cope through the steps of grief. And grief is different for everyone. Grief is something we're all going to experience and we all have experienced. But I think it would be very common for people to describe it different, each person. Those stages of grief, the denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, not everyone goes through all of those steps, and not necessarily in the same order. You might think you're done with your grief, just to find one of those steps popping back up even years later. If you have been grieving a loss, of a person, a close relationship, a career, know that don't you don't have to feel like you have to hurry up and get through all those steps and get over grieving. That's just not a good thing to expect from yourself. It's a time to give yourself definitely self-care. If you feel like you just have more than you can handle with it, by all means, seek help. There are a lot of support groups for grief. You can contact your local hospice organization, and they would be able to hook you up with some of those groups. But I would like to take more time to talk about grieving. I mean, I've heard people say, oh, I've told my children what to do if something happens to me. It's like, if something happens? See, I was raised believing that death is another step of life. It's not an if, it's a when. So eventually, all human beings do die, and there will be people left behind to miss you. I believe that the spiritual part of a person continues to live after the human body has died. Notice that died sounds so final, so absolute. Maybe that's why instead of saying died, we say they passed away. They joined the church triumphant. Our pets crossed the rainbow bridge. They slipped away. They went into eternal rest. Ultimately, they died. Considering that that is something we do experience more as we get older, I think we will talk about this a little bit longer. Cover it in different videos. Meanwhile, I do want you to remember that your Creator loves you. You are important. And it is important that you are alive. The fact that you are alive makes this world a different place. Give yourself a big hug. Remind yourself, I am loved by my Creator. I hope you'll click the subscribe button and the like button and share with a friend. I'm going to put my email address and my mailing address in a comment below. And please send me a comment. Let me know how you view death and grief. But we are going to continue into a series of discussions about death and grief and self-care. I hope you'll take care of yourself. You are important, and it does matter that you're here. Thank you for checking in. Bye now.